There are several questions that still remain. Why were the arrangements not made if such a huge crowd was coming in there? Were there public announcement systems or not? Or were there enough police personnel deployed at the venue or not? We're keeping a close track of the developments there. But for the moment, let's shift our attention now. Well, viewers, it's been a year since the Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on Israel on the 7th of October 2023. And the Middle East is now staring at a conflict that has only worsened since. Israel is fighting a multi-pronged war against the Hamas and Hezbollah, a conflict that now also has Iran in the mix. In the last 48 hours alone, Israel has bombed parts of central Gaza and southern Beirut. Israel has been on a mission to wipe out the tentacles of terror in its neighborhood and targeted Hezbollah infrastructure in southern Beirut. These strikes reportedly targeted a building near a road that led to Lebanon's only international airport in southern Beirut and another formerly used by the Hezbollah-run broadcaster Al-Manar. On Sunday, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also met his troops in northern Israel and declared that Israel will eliminate their enemies and create a new normal in the region. Here was a message from the top Israeli government leaders as the country marked 1 year since the war with Hamas.
אני נמצא פה ביחד עם חיילי צה"ל בגבול הצפון. כמה מטרים מכאן נמצאים חבריהם מעבר לגבול, מפרקים את תשתיות הטרור שחיזבאללה הכין כדי לתקוף את יישובינו. לפני שנה אנחנו ספגנו מכה איומה, וב-12 החודשים שעברו אנחנו משנים את המציאות מקצה אל קצה. וכל העולם משתאה מהמכות שאתם מנחיתים על אויבינו, ואני מצדיע לכם ואומר לכם, אתם דור הניצחון.
פעולה של חיל האוויר גם בהתקפה, גם בהגנה, מקנה חיים לאזרחי מדינת ישראל. האיראנים לא גירדו אפילו את היכולות של חיל האוויר. אין אף טייסת שנפגעה, אין אף מטוס שנפגע, אין אף מסלול שלא מאפשר המראה, ואין שום פגיעה ברציפות שלנו. ומי שחושב שדרך ניסיון לפגוע בישראל, הוא ירתיע אותנו מלהגיב, שיסתכל על מה קורה בעזה ועל מה קורה בביירות.
So like you heard, Israel is showing no signs of backing down just yet. On Sunday, Israel bombarded central Gaza, where at least 19 people lost their lives after an airstrike on a mosque in Deir al-Balah. Another 4 people were killed in a strike on a school sheltering displaced people near the town. Israel maintains that they have no intention to harm civilians and only want their hostages back.
We know that half of the hostages are still alive, and we want them back home. And Israel said yes 3 times to Biden's proposal to a hostage deal, and we expect the international community to put all its pressure on Hamas, on the leadership, on the people that influence Hamas, because it's time for them to be home. Israel has 0 war aims. We just want our people to be safe and secure in their homes. And something that we couldn't make at the 7th of October, as you know, people felt they lost their security. And this is the first obligation of every government, to make sure the people will feel safe in their bedrooms.
We have breaking updates coming in. Explosions have been reported in Haifa. Sirens have been heard in the Israeli city. My colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary joins us on the broadcast with the details. Srinjoy, clearly the escalation continues now. Explosions continue to be heard in Haifa. Take us through what this means, because the missiles have also continued to rain on Israel.
Yes. The Hezbollah remains a very powerful military organization that cannot be downgraded so easily. It's well trained and it's also well equipped. So they have missiles and they have been targeting parts of Israel. Now, Israel, of course, has hit back very strongly. There are parts of Beirut, as you rightly said, that have been hit. The top Hezbollah leadership has largely been eliminated, but it has to be said that if you have 200,000 missiles, clearly you have some ability. And if you have that ability, you're going to hit back. So this is going to continue because the Hezbollah is believed to be stronger and better equipped than the Hamas. And let's not forget that the war with the Hamas has lasted 1 year. So the Hezbollah still has ability, despite the death of their top leaders, including Nasrallah, and even now the fighting will be very severe and very intense. So Israel is still fighting in Gaza. It's still fighting in Lebanon against the Hezbollah. Of course, there are occasional attacks against the Houthis, who also are hitting at Israel. And of course, what happens with Iran, we don't know as yet. Israel has said we will strike, but when we will strike, they have not said, quite naturally. So that is something that is still awaited. Meanwhile, there are targets in Syria, there are targets in Lebanon, and those targets are being hit by Israel, particularly the Israeli Air Force.
Okay, all right. Shinjoy, we'll continue coming back to you for those updates. Do stay with us because the offensive continues in Gaza as well, with civilians also bearing the brunt of the war between Hamas, Hezbollah and Israel. Thousands of people from North Gaza refugee camp fled south following Israel's evacuation order of the north of the enclave. In fact, people were seen fleeing with all their personal belongings that they could carry, some on foot and some in carts.
عملنا ولا شيء وهاجمونا بدون سابق انذار، هاجمونا بدون سابق انذار، بدون اشعارنا، بدون زي كل مره بالخرائط والى اخره، باغتونا هذه المره ونفذنا بجلدنا الحمد لله، يعني طلعنا بعائلاتنا واولادنا وصغارنا بدون ولا شيء، والله غير ملابس خاصه.
رموا علينا قذائف وطلعونا اليهود، قالوا لنا في اخلاء وطلعنا، وطبعا هلا ما عارفين ان احنا وين بدنا نروح. مدارس، مراكز إيواء، مراكز صحية، ما حدا عارفان وين بده يروح ولا وين بده يجي. الوضع صعب. من 7 أكتوبر ليومنا هذا 12 مرة، هاي المرة ال 12 أنا بطلع فيها أنا وأولادي 8 أنفار بنتشنطط زي هيك، بنترمى بالشوارع، ما عارفين وين بدنا نروح.
نزحنا مرة ومرتين وثلاثة وأربعة، لوقتيش؟ فيش بنية تحتية، فيش نار، في مجاعة، في قتل، إحنا مع السلام، إحنا بنقول للعالم انظروا إلنا بالرحمة.
Well, the devastation in the region has drawn the attention of the Pope as well, who has called for an immediate ceasefire in the region and the provision of humanitarian aid to all civilians affected by the war.
Fratelli e sorelle, domani sarà passato un anno dall'attacco terroristico contro la popolazione in Israele, alla quale rinnovo la mia vicinanza. Non dimentichiamo che ancora ci sono molti ostaggi a Gaza, per i quali chiedo l'immediata liberazione. Da quel giorno il Medio Oriente è precipitato in una sofferenza sempre più grave, con azioni militari distruttive che continuano a colpire la popolazione palestinese. Questa popolazione sta soffrendo tantissimo a Gaza e negli altri territori. Si tratta per lo più di civili innocenti, tutta gente che deve ricevere gli aiuti umanitari necessari.
Unfortunately, as the escalation continues, several civilian lives have also been lost, and that's the reason why appeals have come in from several international leaders. On that note, we're slipping into a very quick break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the top stories. Stay with us.